any comparison between what is now in Israel and what was 10 years ago, one only then realizes, I think, the strides that Israel has made. Friends have helped it, are helping Israel now. Not all peoples in the world are friends. To our sorrow, our closest neighbors are not. We would rather be one of the democracies in the Middle East and one of the developed countries in the Middle East. Fullest cooperation with all peoples in the world through the United Nations and in every other way to contribute our share for peace in the world.
I'd like to start by asking you, how do you like your name to be pronounced? May I start by asking you this, how do you like your name to be pronounced?
The right way, I think. The right way of pronouncing my name is Meir.
Meir.
It's a Hebrew name, and that's the right pronunciation, although it's being pronounced all kinds of ways, I'm afraid.
Well, Mrs. Meir, may I ask you this? How does Israel's position in the world compare with 10 years ago?
Well, I think this is about the same as any other phase of Israel life. Any comparison between what is now in Israel and what was 10 years ago, one only then realizes, I think, the strides that Israel has made. Well, 10 years ago, about this time exactly, those in responsible position were weighing very heavily the problem, what is going to happen after we declare ourselves a state within a few days. And we knew more or less what was going to happen. And afterwards, when Israel was declared itself independence, we had to make our way to the recognition of the world of the state of Israel. And various countries had to recognize it. And we were just making our first step into the family of nations. Well, today, whereas one cannot say that all our problems have been solved, at any rate, Israel is a full-fledged member of the family of nations, the United Nations, has diplomatic and friendly relations with tens of countries in the world, and goes on trying to solve its problems, has many friends in the world. Friends have helped it, are helping Israel now. Not all peoples in the world are friends. To our sorrow, our closest neighbors are not. But it's the difference between a country that was just born and had to feel its way, and every step that it took was one of difficulty, whereas with a country that is an accepted member in the world with all its accomplishments and all its problems.
What has been Israel's outstanding achievement in the last 10 years? One outstanding achievement.
Yes. There's no doubt that there is only one answer to this question, and that is the absorption of close to 1 million people in Israel.
What will be Israel's future role in world politics?
You probably are aware of the fact that Israel wants to and has to a very large degree concentrated all its energies on the development of our country, on building a modern and democratic society in this part of the world. We would like to see ourselves in world politics in the next 10 years as a country that has succeeded in major development projects, as for instance the settling of people in our Negev, in what is called a desert, in building up industry, in even enlarging and developing our cultural institutions. And in doing that, in cooperation with our neighbors, so that Israel will not be the country that will be complimented, as it has been in these last 10 years, the only democracy in the Middle East and the only modern country in the Middle East. We would rather be one of the democracies in the Middle East and one of the developed countries in the Middle East. And we see for the future, that is the thing that we would like to be. Naturally, in addition with that, fullest cooperation with all peoples in the world through the United Nations and in every other way to contribute our share for peace in the world. We are happy that we have been privileged, even during our short existence, to be helpful in a very modest way to other countries that are also grappling with development problems. We like to think that we will be able to develop the relationship with countries in Asia and Africa even to a greater extent, and to the best of our ability we should like to participate in helping in the solution of their development problems.
And what's your attitude towards Arab Union?
Well, we feel that Arabs and Arab states and the nations, if they want to unite, that's entirely a problem for them to solve, and we would have nothing to say on this matter. The question is, union for what? Is it union for mutual aid among the Arab countries, greater development, raising the standard of living, increasing the possibilities of peace? Or is it, I would say, is it union for something, or is it union against something? And that is really the problem that bothers Israel. If it's against us, well, then we're against union or non-union. Doesn't make a bit of difference. We have to be careful and anxious about our security. So far, I'm sorry to say, the unions that have taken place have not shown a great desire for constructive work within their territories, but they are vying with each other who can hate somebody else more. So it is a disturbing element, not because countries have united, but that after they have united, they haven't changed in the least as far as their foreign policy is concerned.
Is it true that you're the only woman foreign minister in the world?
To my sorrow, I think it's true.
But can you tell me then, what role do women play in modern Israel?
Well, I can hardly think of any phase of our work or life in the country that women have not in the past taken a very active role, or in the present. I understand that you have taken pictures of our girls in the Army, so let me start with the Army. You have seen them. The girls, as women as well as men, have to serve in the Army. The girls serve 2 years, men serve 2.5. And you saw them. They're smart, they're intelligent, they're efficient. They take care of very many important aspects of the Army life, and have reached high grades in their activity there. The most basic thing in the country, as you know, is our agricultural development, and it just wouldn't have taken place if women hadn't from the very beginning thrown in their lot with the men and went out into the most distant and dangerous points in the country and worked hard, fought in order to be able to work. I mean, fought. Usually we're accustomed to think of women in the world as fighting for rights, and they have a right to, of course. But our women, I think the first struggle of women in this country was for the right to carry a burden. They wanted to work in the fields. They wanted to do all the hard work on the farm. Later on, they wanted their share in the building activities in the country. Women in science, women in the universities, in law, in medicine. We have women judges. As I say, there isn't anything in the country that women are not participating in. I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe that probably the highest percentage of women in Parliament is in the Israel Parliament. We women are not satisfied with the number of women we have in Parliament, but this still is true. One of the deputy speakers of a parliament is a woman. I'm sorry that we only have one woman in our cabinet, but here we are. But I know that our prime minister, from the very beginning, just refuses to form a cabinet unless there's at least one woman on the cabinet. I think he didn't make a good choice, but at least he has a woman on the cabinet. So it has reached a stage where we really very seldom stop to think of what women are doing in the country, because it's just become natural that women do everything that is necessary in every walk of life.
What's your job?
Well, I'm secretary of the kibbutz. That's, to understand what I do, you have to understand how a kibbutz is run. A kibbutz is run by its general assembly and by a whole series of committees. My job is to coordinate the work of the different committees, to try and solve problems that they can't cope with, and bigger problems or questions of policy I bring to the General Assembly of the kibbutz, which decides what to do. Aside from that, I've got a permanent job as well. Of course, being a secretary is it's not a permanent. It's not a profession. My permanent job is working in the orange groves.
What's your job?
Well, I work in the bananas. I'm one of the organisers there, and that's my everyday job. Apart from that, I'm on a committee in the evening. That's the members' committee, which plus I spend a few short phrases is what that's about. Banana work, I suppose, is very strange to people in England. They probably associate Jamaicans with huge Negroes carrying 30-pound or 60-pound bunches of bananas out of huge plantations. Here it's on a much smaller scale, and we try to do it with modern methods, so it doesn't lend itself very much since it's a very closely packed orchard. We do quite well. We produce about 120 tons of bananas a year. And that's one of the reasons why we all look so well, of course. And we all have quite a good time eating them, the right ones, of course.
Well, I can play much better than I can talk. I suppose I have to talk too.
What chances are there of a good amount of music in a kibbutz?
Well, for instance, the kibbutz knows I can play well. You know, I play at evenings and such things. So the kibbutz sends me to a teacher, and I study the flute. I mean, a real flute. Well, I go once a week, and I study music, you know, theoretically, too. It's 2 times.
You're going to end up as a musician, you hope?
Well, I suppose so. I'll try.
And what's your job and how does it work?
I'm a children's nurse in the kibbutz, and each nurse has about 5 children to look after, and since it's about an 11-hour day before the nurse finishes, she has to have a helper. She works 8 hours a day, and another girl works until the end of the day with her. And besides that, there's also another girl who relieves them when they have their day off. So there are actually 3 people working with the children, for each group of 5 children. I work with 1.5-year-olds to 2-year-olds, and I look after them until 4:30 when their parents come and take them and play with them until they go to bed.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, from the point of view of the kibbutz, it's a very good idea, and certainly from the point of view of the children, I think it's a very good idea. Our children grow up very, very healthy and very happy, and besides being able to work all day and spend all their time developing their own interests in the evening when they don't have to worry about where their children are, the parents are able to spend a lot of time actually playing with the children, both the father and the mother, which not many families, especially working families, can do.